For centuries, billions have believed that disease, suffering, and death came into the world because two ancient humans ate a fruit in a garden. This story, found in the early chapters of the Bible, claims that all of humanity was cursed because Adam and Eve disobeyed God. Some modern religious groups still cling to the idea that every illness, from cancer to the common cold, can be traced back to that moment. But let's pause for a second and ask, does this belief hold up under logic, reason, and science? The answer is a clear and resounding no. There is no such thing as a sin gene. The concept of inherited sin-causing disease is a myth, no different from ancient tales explaining lightning as the anger of gods. Let's break it down. First, let's establish what disease actually is. Diseases are caused by a variety of natural factors. Pathogens like bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Genetic mutations and inherited conditions. Environmental exposures, such as pollution or radiation. Lifestyle choices, like diet, exercise, and substance use. None of these causes have anything to do with a spiritual curse. A virus doesn't stop to ask if you're descended from a mythical couple in a garden before infecting you. A gene doesn't mutate because your ancestors sinned. Modern medicine and biology have spent decades uncovering how diseases function and spread. The causes are biological, not theological. Let's turn to the fossil record. We have found dinosaur bones, dating back over 100 million years, with clear signs of arthritis, tumors, abscesses, and infections. Dinosaurs lived and died long before any supposed Adam and Eve. So if disease predates humans, how could human sin be the reason for disease? It can't. This alone destroys the idea that illness came into the world because of humans. Life has always involved decay and death. It's built into nature's very structure. The Earth is billions of years old. Life has evolved, suffered, thrived, and died long before any religion or sacred text existed. The fossil evidence makes this obvious. Diseases didn't begin with sin, they began with biology. Now consider animals. According to religious mythology, only humans descend from Adam and Eve. Animals are often viewed as innocent or outside the realm of sin. So why do animals suffer from diseases? Why do they get cancer, rabies, infections, and heart disease? Why do animals die in the wild from viruses and parasites? If the claim is that disease came from original sin, then this logic would not apply to animals. Yet they suffer exactly like we do, often even worse. There's no theological explanation that justifies why innocent animals are riddled with illness. Science, on the other hand, offers clarity. Animals, like humans, are biological organisms made of cells that mutate, weaken, and age. Why, then, do so many people still believe in the Adam and Eve story? Because it provides a simple answer to a complex problem. Suffering is hard to understand, and religion steps in with easy answers. It says, you suffer because someone disobeyed God. That sounds comforting to some because it feels like there's a reason behind the pain. But that doesn't make it true. The human brain is wired to seek patterns and meaning, even where there are none. This makes us vulnerable to accepting ancient myths if they seem to explain our reality. But just because a belief is old or popular doesn't make it right. Historians and scholars overwhelmingly agree that the story of Adam and Eve is a mythological narrative, not a historical account. It was written thousands of years ago by people who didn't understand biology, genetics, or disease. It was an attempt to explain where humans came from and why life includes suffering. We now know better. There is no archaeological evidence for a literal Garden of Eden. There is no genetic marker indicating a single original couple. In fact, human genetics proves the opposite, that humanity descends from a large population of early humans, not just two individuals. Science has thoroughly debunked the idea that we all came from one man and one woman a few thousand years ago. The Adam and Eve myth was written in a time before microscopes, DNA, or germ theory. Its relevance to modern understanding is zero. Let's talk about genetics, the actual science of inheritance. Your DNA determines many traits: height, eye color, susceptibility to certain diseases, etc. But nowhere in human genetics is there a gene for sin or spiritual impurity. There's no genetic code that says, this person is now cursed because of an ancestor's mistake. What we do inherit are genetic mutations, often harmless, sometimes dangerous, caused by natural processes. Evolution, gene flow, genetic drift, and natural selection are the forces shaping our genome, not theological concepts. You can't test someone's blood and find evidence of the fall of man. You can, however, test for sickle cell anemia, Huntington's disease, or cancer markers, and those have natural, biological explanations. If disease truly came from spiritual causes, you would expect spiritual solutions to work. But they don't. No one is cured of cancer by prayer alone. No virus has ever been eradicated through religious ritual. Plagues are not stopped by sermons or holy water. What actually works? Vaccines, antibiotics, surgery, sterilization, public health policies, medical science. Every major breakthrough in improving human health has come from the lab, not the pulpit. Religious explanations of disease are not just wrong, they are dangerous, especially when they stop people from seeking real help. Believing that disease comes from inherited sin has real-world consequences. In some extreme religious communities, children have died because their parents refused medical treatment. People with mental illness have been accused of being possessed. Disabilities are seen as punishment from God. This mindset is cruel and backward. It promotes guilt, shame, and ignorance. It blames people for suffering that has natural explanations. It allows superstition to triumph over compassion and science. When people believe myths instead of facts, others suffer, and sometimes die. The real story of life on Earth is far more interesting than any ancient myth. We live in a vast, ancient universe governed by natural laws. Life evolved over billions of years through amazing processes like mutation, adaptation, and selection. Yes, life includes disease and death, but not because of a moral failing. It's because we're fragile biological beings in a complex environment. That's not sad. That's honest. And it inspires us to learn, heal, and protect each other through knowledge. Science doesn't just debunk myths, it replaces them with deeper truth. There's an old saying, there's no worse blind person than the one who refuses to see. And that's the perfect summary for those who still insist that illness is caused by inherited sin from Adam and Eve. The evidence is overwhelming. Diseases are natural, not moral. The Adam and Eve story is a symbolic myth, not a history book. The fossil record, medical science, and genetics all point in one direction, and it's not toward Eden. It's time to let go of the past and walk forward into a future built on truth, not superstition. Our health, our science, and our humanity deserve better than old stories that blame our ancestors for our pain. Thank you for watching. If you found this video interesting or thought-provoking, please consider giving it a like, sharing it with others, and leaving a comment with your opinion. I'd love to hear what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future content. See you in the next video.